Hello, everybody. For some reason, the background video broke, but welcome to the. Oh, let's see what's going on here. Here we go. I think I've got a repetition. This is why they don't trust me with production. But anyways, I'm doing production this week, and the background image has broken, which is unfortunate. Let me see if I can find that. If I can find that background image again. Don't worry about this. This is fine. This is fine. Nothing is wrong here. Nothing is wrong here. Aha! It worked. I fixed it. All right, so folks, this week it's going to be a little bit different on Darf Talks. I'm going to be here with my usual co-host of the Drop Room. It's Balty Baby.
What's good?
Say hello to the lovely people. You already did. So.
Oh, I did. Yes. Hello. What's going on?
So it's kind of an interesting week for the Counter-Strike community because pretty much everyone in the scene that we follow is on their way to Fragadelphia. So I had to really scrape the bottom of the barrel of the interview prospects here, and that's how I turned up with Balty over here.
Thank you for that great introduction. I am what is considered the bottom of the barrel of this community.
So for anyone who doesn't know us, I'm Darf Mike. This is Balty Baby.
Yes.
He is my co-host on the Drop Room, which is a show we do every week at 6 p.m. He's also a commissioner of MDL fantasy leagues, writer of articles, poster of other podcasts, occasional caster, attempted caster.
Yep.
Did some casting, dabbled. Am I a lot quieter? Uh-oh. Time to pump myself and lower you. Yeah, that's the solution.
Here, I can even turn down my gain on my mic if you want. No, you're fine. Nobody wants to hear me, bro.
Your gain is fine. I can control your audio levels. Is that better, Carbon Dogma?
As long as Carbon is situated, we're good.
All right. Well, that's the important part. That's what we want to keep track of. So,
exactly.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Welcome to this show.
Thank you. I am on a different show this week. I love being on the many different shows. That's what I live for.
We're gonna get you on every show. You're gonna be on the nightly news. We're gonna be on talk shows. You're gonna be on everything.
Yeah, I'll be on Conan. Yeah.
Let's do the formal interview thing. I know it's easy for me to slip back into informality since we do a weekly show, but I'm gonna try and keep it a little more formal for this. Let's start with a little story time here.
Okay.
Blake Balty Baby Evans.
Yeah.
What's the origin of Balty Baby?
Okay, so I feel like most people don't have like that great of an origin story, but I think mine's okay. So it actually, there is a bit of a tale to it. So I don't know if you're familiar with the game Habbo Hotel.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. Okay, to give the viewers and you some background, it's like this social game. You create your little avatar. You go into many rooms and you talk to people and stuff. I'm sure at least a few people in the audience have heard of Habbo Hotel. So
I think I have heard of this before.
Yeah, if you quick look up and you look at it, yeah. So it was a social game, and I was like a little 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old playing that game. I was hustling the ladies on there and everything. I was trying to get e-girls and everything before e-girls were really a thing on Twitch and things like that. And my name was Baltimore Rocks 89 because I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. So
that's a different question we're gonna get to.
Yeah. Okay. So my name was Baltimore Rocks 89, and my quote unquote best friend on this platform, his name was Agent Matt, and he would call me Balty, and he was pretty much the only one that called me Balty, and I liked that he did that, and I was like, all right, like I'll keep that. And as time went on, I would just go from like Balt to Balty and things like that. And then my friends, when we would play Counter-Strike, would actually call me like Balty Baby, like in like a really affectionate voice. And it was really funny. So I just kind of like, I kept that, and then Balty Baby has officially stuck. So it's either that or just Balty is fine as well.
Okay. So, yeah. So you went from, so it's like a Second Life type of thing, right? Like Pixel Second Life.
Yes.
Are you like cybering in the corners?
Yep. I was living it up. Little 12-year-old Blake didn't have any friends, so he got friends online. No, I'm kidding.
So, follow-up question that I have to ask because you said it. I live in Maryland.
Yes.
You don't. You live in Canada.
I do.
Where specifically in Canada?
I live in Ontario, so it's pretty close to Toronto if you're familiar with capital cities and things like that.
Sure. So why are you a Baltimore Ravens fan?
Funnily enough, when I was a little kid, I was actually a Patriots fan, and then I kind of grew up and kind of grew a brain, and I was like, I do not support this organization. And I was like scouring to like find a team that I like because I grew up in a football family. So it's like there's got to be a team that I like because I love football. So I got to support something. And then I kind of looked at the Ravens and I kind of saw like the legendary defense that it was with like Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, and Ray Lewis at the time. And I was just like, this is legit. And then I started like actually watching the franchise and, you know, supporting them like from Madden. Like I would buy all the Madden games and I would just play as them solely. So it's like, as I kind of like started to support the franchise, I really started to like them more and more. And just kind of like the legacy that they've had in that, like, they haven't been a franchise for that long, like since the 90s. So, and even in hockey, like I love the Tampa Bay Lightning, also not a Canadian team. And there's way more Canadian teams to pick from than the NFL. But they're also just a super young team that I like to support.
Okay, yeah. So Ray Lewis is being inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight. Is that an exciting?
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. He's a beast, bro. Like on and off the field, he's just like a great person.
But both for his ability to give rousing halftime speeches and his ability to help the homies cover up a murder. Probably.
Exactly.
Allegedly.
Yes. Allegedly. I will full on support the fact that he probably didn't do it. I will forever hold that in my heart.
You think he's gonna accept the gold jacket by swapping it out with a white jacket? A white suit jacket?
I don't think so.
All right.
I think it's just the gold, ladies and gents.
Just the gold tonight?
All right. Just the gold.
Well, I'm on the other side of that Hall of Fame game. I'm a Bears fan. But we'll get back into the thing that I brought you on here to talk about, which is your background in gaming and esports. And I really want to start at the beginning. What was sort of your first exposure to gaming in any way?
Gaming in any way? Okay. Cheating on Counter-Strike 1.6.
How old were you?
I was very young. I had two older brothers, so they were like my introduction to gaming in general. So playing Counter-Strike 1.6 and very blatantly cheating. Like we would open up our cheat and go into the game and get banned every game. And then just like PlayStation 1 games, so like Final Fantasy, old wrestling games like WWF at the time. So like things like that, yeah.
So, filthy cheater at the young age. Dirty cheater.
I did not grow up and become a cheater, I promise.
Great start to your career.
Scrawny, come on, man. I'm not a cheater.
Fact Van Balty. Fact Van Balty. You heard it here first. It's going to happen. Yeah. From all that CS that you play as opposed to the stuff you're watching.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to a major anytime soon, and it's because I cheat. That's the only reason.
That's the only reason. Otherwise, he'd be top of NA. He'd be exactly on Cloud9 right now. They could use you at this point.
Yeah, they could.
They're losing bodies.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Okay, so your start in CS was in 1.6 cheating with your older brothers.
Yeah.
And when did you... Was there a period where you actually started playing for real? Or was it just sort of like shit, I guess I better stop getting banned?
No, I was way too young at the time. I would have been in like kindergarten and like grade 1 and 2. Like I'm way too young to like take this stuff seriously. So at the time I was mostly just playing like I was playing like Phantasy Star Online and Halo 2 on Xbox Live. Like that's what I was doing like way back in gaming. So like I wasn't really focused on PC. At the time our internet wasn't crazy and our computer definitely wasn't good. So it was all about just playing Xbox and console games where like the games could actually support the console, because like it was like 2003 2004 the PCs were still dog shit. So it's like the console gaming was the life.
Okay, so coming from the console, when did you get into PC gaming?
Around 2014, I want to say. I had a laptop, and that was kind of when I started doing that. I still had all the consoles, of course, but like I got a laptop for Christmas, and then when I started actually like a full PC rig gaming was about 2015. I bought it off my friend who I kind of scammed for price that he should have got more for, but he got addicted to CS:GO gambling, so he wanted to get rid of his computer, and I just snatched that thing.
I gotta say, this has so far not been a great interview for you. We went from cheating as like a baby. Literally, when Balty was a baby, he was cheating in 1.6 to scamming your friend with a gambling problem.
To be fair, he was an acquaintance. How about that? Like, he wasn't like a best friend.
Is that better?
Where I, like, broke
I guess that's better.
What?
It's better.
I didn't like break a friendship for it. He did ask for it back later on, and I said no.
Streets are hard for a Balty.
Yeah, exactly. I'm out here in the trap of Canada.
Damn.
Living in the trap.
Scamming kids on the street corner for their PC. That's aggressive. Yeah. So when did... Moving beyond... I'm getting all sorts of gems. I'm just going to start clipping this.
Clip everything. Bro, my mom is watching this. She said, what's she saying so far? All I can see is Buzz Lightyear. So if you haven't noticed, there's a Buzz Lightyear right here.
Oh yeah, Buzz Lightyear.
If you didn't notice that. And are you having a drink during an interview? Yeah, bro, I get thirsty. I gotta talk a lot. The hell is this? Like, my mom's never been interviewed. Shake my head.
Getting kibitzing mid-interview. So when did you get involved with competitive Counter-Strike? Either just watching it or playing it or anything? Like real competitive Counter-Strike.
Pretty much the second I started playing it, actually. So my brother introduced me to it. Not my younger brother, but my youngest of the oldest brothers introduced me to it in 2014. I had basically like just ended school for that year, and he was like, come over to my house for the weekend, we'll play some Counter-Strike. So I downloaded on my laptop. Surprisingly enough, it played well on my laptop. And he bought me a key for a case that I had won in a game, and I won an AK-47 Vulcan right away. And this is at the time that the Vulcan was still like I guess a decent price for the time. It's like $45, so we sold it instantly, and we went straight to CS:GO Lounge. So we started betting instantly.
Glory days.
Yeah, exactly. The CS:GO Lounge glory days.
You have just lived like an illicit online gaming life.
I know that's the great thing about having older brothers.
Scamming, straight to betting. How much older than you are your brothers?
I'm not older. I'm the youngest. So
I know, but how much older are your brothers? Yeah.
Oh, my oldest brother is 8 years older than me. And then my next oldest, who actually lives with me still, born in 92, so he's 6 years older.
Okay.
So yeah, we instantly start betting, and my favorite team quickly became Virtus Pro because they were good at the time. And they were the first competitive team that I ever watched, and I actually still have a Virtus Pro t-shirt to prove my fandom.
Loyalty, your fandom.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a hard team to root for these days.
Yeah, they are just brutal.
Well, they just made a swap. Maybe Snatchy will bring them back to glory. Make
I think
Polish
that'll help
CS
them,
great
honestly.
again.
I do support that move.
Make Polish CS great again. It's gonna happen. So you immediately go into betting, and so CS:GO Lounge was your introduction to competitive Counter-Strike, to like watching it.
Oh, CS:GO at the time, it was everything to competitive. Like it was the main reason why I kept going. I kind of had an addiction to gambling as well, in that like anytime I got a 5-cent skin, anytime I got somebody like lent me, they're like, I'm gonna lend you this skin, don't bet it. I was like, don't worry.
I'm gonna
Bet it anyway. Like I had no remorse when it came to CS:GO betting. So it's not like I was betting like crazy amounts of money like some people have, but it's just like addicted to the rush of like, I can't wait to win this 10-cent skin. So yeah.
So
it was all about betting.
Big slip into degeneracy. When you were doing all this betting, what age would you say you were? Like, hypothetically, we're not going to talk in legitimate terms because I'm pretty sure that was illegal. Like, give me a range.
At the time that it originally started, from the very first game that I bet on, I was 15.
Well, that was a very specific range, but okay.
Yeah, very specific. I was
right.
between 15 and a half and 15, almost 16.
So Balty Baby here, the poster child for everything that the government and Valve fear about CS:GO gambling.
Yeah, I was anything of revolving Counter-Strike. I was definitely in the degenerate scene for sure.
Okay. So was that also your introduction to like Premier level Counter-Strike? I guess it was Premier at the time, Mountain Dew League now.
I guess in a way that's kind of a different story for me, I would say. Do you want
Okay,
to do you want to
tell me
you want to
tell me
segue into
that
that one?
story. Yeah, how
All
did you get
right.
involved in
All right, so
like
my
Premiere?
mom's gonna love this as she's listening because I know her star child is gonna love hearing this. So, um, basically, I'm in college at the time that I start really looking into Premiere.
Mm-hmm.
Betting is kind of dying down. You really got to go to like degenerate kind of sites. Like I would say CS:GO Lounge was like the epitome of CS:GO betting,
Mm-hmm.
and now everything else is just like, am I a degenerate with my credit card? Yes. And then you just start betting. um so I've done a little bit of that, nothing crazy, like $10 every once in a while. So but I was still working at McDonald's, so it was all good. I still had cash flow. um and I'm in college and I'm looking for a way to procrastinate doing anything. I didn't want to do any of the work that I had, and I was still very much like in the scene in terms of like
Mm-hmm.
making sure that I kept up with what was going on because I didn't want to like completely die out. And my brother actually was in England, I think at the time. England or Las Vegas, one or the other. So I stole his room for a couple of days, I think a week or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to not do work. I was like, I'm so done with any work that I'm doing for college and I want to procrastinate really hard. So I started writing up these ESEA power rankings
Mm-hmm.
for the forums, and I noticed that like nobody else was doing them, so I was just like, let's just do it. I kind of like I kind of know what I'm talking about. I've still been around in the scene, so I'm pretty sure that I might be able to do a good job here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing these write-ups and people are loving them. I'm getting a lot of great feedback. But then the one hater came. the infamous one hater. I forget who it was at this time, and I feel bad because I always kept him in the back of my mind because he was the driving force and everything. And
Really, this one
yeah,
online anonymous hater.
yeah, like surprisingly enough, because now I don't deal like if you can hate on me all day, I'll laugh. Like I think it's hilarious all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
I love getting hate. It's so funny. So at the time, I guess I did not like getting hate. I was super sensitive apparently.
What did he
And
say? Do you remember?
something along the lines of like, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. You don't even watch these games. Literally, don't come on the forums with this bullshit and just leave. So I was just like, all right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take these power rankings. I'm going to dedicate an entire podcast to this power ranking, and this one hater led me to watch the entire season, going into it, and then making my podcast around it. So I think for that season, I came in about 2 weeks late.
Mm-hmm.
So I had started about week 3, week 4. And so I had a basis of how I could use my power ranking. So like, at least it wasn't just like, I'm taking 24 teams and I'm ranking them arbitrarily. At least there was somewhat of a standings to go off of.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got that one hater and I was just like, all right, time to prove him wrong. I'm about to go hard daddy on this podcast. And I'm still in the middle of college. And I was just like, I was working harder on the podcast than I was on school. But that's just because it was something that I loved way more. And so I just went full daddy into the podcast.
What do you think it was about either competitive CS in general, ESEA, like the MDL, the Premier, or was it like doing the podcast itself? What do you think it was that grabbed you so intensely?
I'll address pretty much all of those. So like,
Mm-hmm.
competitive CS, it's like, I love CS. Like I love playing it. Like it draws me in. For a long time I didn't play it, but that's just because of burnout. I still love the game.
Mm-hmm.
I love how competitive it is. And for a spectator esport, it's so easy to understand. Like it's not as easy to understand as Rocket League, but it's pretty easy to understand.
Mm-hmm.
In comparison to like Dota 2, Overwatch, and League, where there's a bit of a learning curve both playing and watching. So it was super easy to understand. So there obviously was an audience.
Mm-hmm.
And then with ESEA, I loved that like there was a system that you could get into where there was an amateur scene. For some, like even kind of League of Legends, it doesn't seem like there's an amateur scene. Like you just kind of get there. You get to the top of the circuit and teams are like, all right, we'll pick this guy up by random. Like it doesn't really seem like there's a set way to get to the top. And I know they just came out with like Rivals or something, Clash, I think it is, and that might help out or something like that. But with ESEA, it's been around forever, and it's been an
Mhm.
easy set way to make it to the top, and I've always liked that. And then in terms of Premier, there's something about like the level below professional that fascinates me.
Mhm.
Anytime I'm playing like a sports game, because I love pretty much like all the main sports besides baseball. So and
Yeah,
I
who
even
likes
did play
baseball?
MLB. You know what? To be fair, I did play MLB the Show for quite a little bit, and I kind of understood a little bit more about the lower level of it, like AA and
Mhm.
AAA and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
at least I have an understanding of them. So I just like the way that people have to be on the come up. And anytime I would play like NHL games, I would be really focused on like my AHL team and making sure that it's at the top of its game as well. So that way, like I had a good farm system for my NHL team. Like it was super intricate, and I just love the level below
Mhm.
pro. Like there's just something about it that draws me in to see that like especially in our league, we get it all the time. And I said this on my full time announcement. It was our league is full of egotistical maniacs who don't want to make pro. It's full of guys that would talk shit online but never on LAN. And I think we're gonna see a lot of that at Fragadelphia.
Oh yeah.
And then there's guys that are super humble and just insanely good at the game. And then everything else, like there's such a crazy spectrum of personalities in here. Whereas
Mhm.
in Pro League, you don't really see that as much. I feel like we get way better storylines on Premiere because people are always talking shit to each other. And if they're not, then it's behind the scenes and the DMs come out, and then we get more of a storyline there. Like more of the storyline I feel like is also driven in the game, but it's also driven out of game for Premiere. Whereas at the pro
Mhm.
level, all of like the Thorins and the YNKs and the Sponges, they're trying to make it about like stuff in game. And I think it's really fun that we get to take it out of game sometimes.
Yeah. So, okay. So you start this podcast,
Yep.
the Balty Baby Premiere Podcast. How long were you doing the podcast before you really started to get viewership on it, started to get reach outs from people? Like, how long did that take?
It honestly, it didn't. I don't remember it taking that long at all. Keep in mind,
Mm-hmm.
this is back in like season 24 and 25 when it was still very active.
Mm-hmm.
So this is about a year ago. Um, and when I started it, it was it got views like right away, like 40, 50 views. I was like, wow, people actually are kind of watching this. And then Joe, Tolkien fanatic, the overseer of Counter-Strike at this point, I guess. Like he has many
Godfather
titles,
of
I would assume.
NACS.
Yes, my esports father, basically. he
Mm-hmm.
um he was kind of the reason I got a lot of traction as well in terms of retweets from my Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
and putting my stuff on Reddit as well. So it didn't take long at all, just because there was something new in the community that nobody else was doing or has ever done. So it was kind of like I saw a hole in the community and I decided to fill that hole, and it paid off, I guess, at the time.
Mm-hmm. Out of curiosity, also, just in terms of like making the content, viewing it, watching all the stuff, betting on it, was there ever a point where you thought about doing actual league play?
Where I thought, like, put me in a server, I'm gonna play like these guys.
Yeah, like try open or figure out that kind of thing. Was there ever an interest in
Um,
doing that from your side?
at the time, no, because my PC would definitely not have been able to keep up with the 300 FPS that these other guys were coming at me with.
Okay.
My internet was also terrible. There were many things holding me back, as well as overall skill. Like I said, like I was still in college, so like
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't playing all that often. If they had caught me back in like 2015 when I was global and I was like actually working my ass off playing 8 hours a day, like yeah, I might have considered it and maybe considered like trying to join an open team or something like that. But like that's back in high school when I wasn't studying and I was doing all of my assignments last minute. Like I would
Mm-hmm.
literally only play Counter-Strike. Like the second I got home, it's 3 o'clock. I play till 1 o'clock, and then I go to bed, wake up, go to school, and do it all again. Like
That's a
that
familiar
was
story.
yeah. Um so yeah, at the time I was really good, and then I
Mm-hmm.
went to college and I got really bad. So it was all about just focusing on watching and consuming just as much Counter-Strike as I could from the league. So
Mm-hmm.
that way I could make my podcast as informed as I could, because I didn't have insider trade knowledge, you know, like like our segment on Drop Room, like baseless speculation, that was my whole show. Like I had no insider knowledge, so everything I said was just speculation and bullshit. So people got upset with me sometimes. They're like, "You don't know what you're talking about." And I was like, "Well, you're kind of right. I don't, because I'm not friends with you people. So everything that I have to do is basically like all showmanship. Like I have to offer you up something that's completely random and bullshit, and maybe I feed it to you trying to make you think it's the truth. Who knows? It's a show. Like I honestly, like, it was my first like real attempt at a podcast as well. So I didn't know what I was talking about in terms of like actual behind the scenes stuff. I felt like I knew what I was talking about in terms of how the standings work and how power rankings work and how teams should be working in terms of like who should be who and stuff like that. But like in terms of being friends with these people and knowing what they're talking about behind the scenes, I have no fucking clue. Like
fake it till you make it kind of thing.
Exactly, and I think I did an okay job.
Starting up the podcast, yeah, I mean, you talked about how you're a big football fan of various sports, played a lot of the games. Did you have like a specific model you were trying to follow, or was it just sort of that general genre of podcast of content?
It was that specific genre. I actually I took a lot of ideas from this really awesome podcast called The Fantasy Footballers. So I love playing fantasy football as well. Also a champion in that. Let's go.
How recently?
Last season.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do okay for myself. That's why I brought in the fantasy league for MDL too. It's a total love for it. So what was the question again? Sorry, I got off on a tangent.
It was did you have something you were basing it on, your podcast?
Yes, the Fantasy Footballers. So I took a few ideas from them in terms of like they had the studs and duds of the week. I brought in the gods and bots of the week just because I wanted to make it community based, and that's kind of how the community has always worked. Like, oh, God Olaf, bot Alu, like that kind of thing. So I tried to keep it at least in terms of things that people understood. But in terms of like trying to like break the mold and in terms of like bringing in something new to the podcast scene, I wasn't looking at it like that. No.
Okay. Were you, so doing this podcast, you were talking about like you had a pretty early audience, you had pretty early audience involvement. Tolkien Fanatic was retweeting your stuff. When did you start actually like having direct contact with Joe or getting involved with the HLTV guys? Or, I mean, this was pre-Dust 2 US existing. So when did you start to get that involvement with HLTV and that sphere of the community?
That was actually a pretty crazy time. So I was basically like going on hiatus from my podcast, and it seemed kind of sketch because at the time I had like one bad prediction in playoffs, and I owed an apology to Som, the young phenom himself, and I kind of like left the scene, but because I had to focus on college, and which is why I didn't ever make another video after that. So it wasn't that like I made a bad prediction. I was like, my career's over, man. I gotta go.
Just bailed.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, my whole reputation's tarnished. It wasn't about that. It was about like just coming into the final exams of college, and I couldn't keep up. And it's not like I can make a video right like 4 weeks out. That's like, all right, so I got this prediction wrong. So it was like I kind of just had to stick it out and wait till next season. But at the time, I was working for HLTV. So like you said, Joe gets into contact with me soon after my podcast ends. So this is about early May, I want to say. So early May comes around and he starts messaging me, and he's like, you know, we have an open position for coverage for North American matches. And I was just like, you want me to work for HLTV? I don't even care what the position is. Like, you say you
I will
HLTV
clean the
together.
floors.
But genuinely, that's what it was. Like,
Yeah.
it was to the point that I was like, I was messaging my friends like instantly. Like the second Joe messaged me, it was like golden ticket. Like I started running to my friends' DMs like, guys, like I'm getting an offer to work for HLTV, and all of them were nuts because like all of my friends were CS:GO bettors. They loved everything about HLTV. They read the articles, they kept up with everything. They went to the matches from it. So it was like they loved HLTV, and the fact that like they knew somebody that got to work for such a prestigious company in the like scene that we loved. They were all hyped for me. So I was just like, yeah, bro, like I'm at the top of this social hierarchy in this friend group now. Like I'm HLTV status.
I'm a god now.
Exactly. So he gets in touch with me. I obviously take the position. I start. I think my first day was May 25th, and they do this trial period to see if you're any good. So obviously they kept your boy on after the trial, and I start making a living off of HLTV, and that was some grueling hours sometimes. Occasionally it was some grueling hours. Some days we didn't have any games, which was great. And then pretty much it was MDL and stuff like that. But on the days that we had qualifiers, oh boy, those were busy days. And at the time my computer broke, my power supply broke.
Oh no.
So I had to work off a laptop, and I'd also lost my glasses off of I went to an amusement park here in Canada called Canada's Wonderland. It's right outside Toronto. I went on a ride called the Behemoth. I dabbed on the Behemoth, and when I dabbed, I knocked my glasses off. So I'm working for HLTV.
You can't see my cam right now, but my hand's in my face. You dabbed your own glasses off an amusement park ride.
Yeah, I dabbed my glasses right off my face.
And ladies and gentlemen, Balty baby.
Yeah. Thank you. So basically, I come back home. I'm still working for HLTV. I have a laptop that I can't see, so I'm face first in my laptop.
Ooh, you got
all day, every day. Yeah, sorry, I was right in my mic. Sorry, headphone users. So yeah, I'm blind as a bat. I have a laptop screen, and it was probably the worst couple weeks of my life because I can't see anything, and there's so much that you have to do. Having two monitors for HLTV is very necessary in terms of making sure that you can keep up with like how quick paced it is sometimes. But yeah, that is to answer the initial question of when Joe started contacting me, early May.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was early May of 2017, right?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Okay. And so you're blind as a bat, updating match pages, figuring out vetoes, that whole shenanigans.
Yes.
Chaotic. What? When did you stop working for HLTV?
So leading into it, I did tell them that before I took the job, I was like, look, I start again in September, so I will be doing that. When I started school, it was like September 4th or 5th or something like that, and one of my other North America coverage guys, so we always had two, so it was me and my boy Martin, who lives down in I think Argentina. So since we're all like on that same time zone kind of thing, he was also working on that stuff, but he also did all of the South American stuff as well. So he actually went to Denmark for a HLTV business meeting. So I was covering NA by myself for about a week and a half or so. So I went till, I think my last day was September 15th, 2017. And then I went back to school full time.
Okay, so right up against it.
Yeah.
All right, and what did that exposure at HLTV, what did that experience at HLTV either teach you about the scene or show you about what you wanted to get out of the scene?
In terms of what it showed me much like a person who's never worked at McDonald's, then works at McDonald's, and they kind of understand fast food a little more and have some patience, people. I'm a little bitter. It's like you kind of understand behind the scenes a little bit more in terms of like how grueling esports can be sometimes, in terms of how much time it'll take out of your life. Like my sleep schedule completely changed because of it. It changed multiple times because of it. Just because sometimes it's like MDL 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. I guess, and then I'm done. Sometimes it's Fragadelphia. I wake up at 9 and I'm done at 2 a.m. Like it's there was some grueling time. So yeah. So it definitely helped me understand the scene a lot more in terms of the behind the scenes. And then with in terms of like exposure, I don't think it added too much exposure. It's not like there were special offers in terms of anything that was because I was with HLTV.
Sure.
I'd say the biggest thing was probably working for Dust 2 with Joe was probably the offer, the main offer that I would say that came out of it.
Okay. And so I mean that was actually 2017 September 15th when you wrap with HLTV. That's right when Dust 2 US is kicking up, right?
Yeah, so when Joe was like, I want you to come be a writer for Dust 2, I was like, I'm gonna have to offer you the same reason that I left HLTV, because it's not like I'm not gonna try to snake HLTV at the same time that I'm like going like to Dust 2. I was like, I gotta focus on school right now. I'm in my second year. Once it's over, you know, we'll see. So that's just kind of what happened for most of it. And every once in a while I'd try to like, if I was on like Twitter on the bus back home or something from school, I'd send it to the Discord or something like that. So I feel like I'd try to stay involved as much as I could. But I was very much involved with school for sure.
Okay. And I guess I kind of want to ask about, so you were involved with school, you weren't doing Dust 2 US, you weren't doing HLTV. The next big esports thing that you were doing was the Fantasy League, right?
Yeah, so I was hitting that second semester lull where, much like the first year when I started the podcast, it was like, I need something to do because I'm so bored. Like I don't want to do my schoolwork. I have projects that are coming up and I'm just like, I don't want to do them right now. I'd rather do them the night before, just because that's the kind of guy I am. So I I just started it up. I was like, all right, next season starting, let's do it. And I guess unfortunately, but fortunately for myself, I went to Cuba. So the Fantasy League got kind of messed up a little bit at the beginning because I was trying to run the entire league off of my phone. And then my phone broke. So I basically was there from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then my phone broke on Monday, and I was there till Thursday. So I went days without Spotify. I went days without Discord, so I couldn't talk to people. It was a rough time.
Crisis.
Yeah, it was not good. Yeah, it was not a good time for myself.
What did it feel like to travel through time? Be phoneless.
It was horrible. Honestly, living without a phone in 20, genuinely the worst experience of your life. Like, your phone is your communication to everything. Like, it's crazy. So losing that was probably the worst experience of that trip. Oh, and also spraining my foot in a pool. That was not fun.
Spraining your foot in a pool in Cuba.
Yeah, I kind of pencil dived into the shallow end, thinking that it was the deeper end. It was not the deeper end. Sprained my left foot, so I was crippled and I had no phone. So it was a great trip overall.
We're just going. This interview has just been a litany of Balty baby getting injured or losing stuff.
Yeah, my life is bananas.
You got some struggles. It's been a hard knock life. You've overcome adversity.
Yeah, it sounds like I've overcome adversity, but like I really haven't. My mom is the real MVP in my life. Real talk.
Shout outs to Balty Mama.
Yeah, Balty Mama. Shout outs to my mom.
So the next thing I want to touch on is and the place where I met you, and where you met a lot of Nerd Street, was Mad City in Chicago in March. This was as the MDL season was wrapping up, or was midway through, towards the end. And you were coming out to Chicago with us. That was through Dust 2 US as well, right?
That was through Dust 2 US. I was also the photographer for TV since we were covering it on the website, so I was getting updated pictures and things like that. So I was doing double duty. But yeah, it was mainly through Dust 2.
How did that come about? Did Joe reach out to you for it?
So when did the event start? Do you remember the exact day? Like March 10th or something like that?
Something like that. I could probably look it up.
Basically, a week before the event starts, Joe hits me up and he's like, hey, do you want to go to Chicago? I was just like, what? Like, I was kind of, actually, was it a week before? It was something like that. Like, basically, at the start of March, I kind of had some time on my hands in terms of, like, I was kind of procrastinating from school again, and I was just like, I want to do something, and Joe's, dying to get me writing for his website. So I was like, all right, let's go with Joe here. I'll write a little bit. I'll start my trial with the website. And then he was like, do you want to go to Chicago? And I was like, hell yeah, I want to go to Chicago. Like, what the hell? Like, this will be my first event. So I did everything in my power to make sure that I could go. So basically, like, my dad had given me a bunch of money for driving school, which I still haven't completed, and it's been months since March. He gave me a bunch of money, and then Joe said, "Do you want to go to Chicago?" And I was like, I really want to kind of snake my dad and kind of like use this money to travel and go to Chicago. And
so Dust 2 didn't pay your way?
They did. They paid for my lodging, and they paid for my whole stay at the event. I just had to. Okay. I paid my plane ticket, and they paid my lodging. The thing was, if it wasn't some sort of split, I wasn't able to go. They were only able to pay so much. So I was just like, look, I'm gonna make sure that I can go. Like I understand that like I won't get a lot of personal pay, and because I was also still on trial technically. So and I wouldn't be able to pay for the plane ticket. So it was understandable. It's a budget thing, so it's whatever. So I say to my mom, I was like, I want to use this money that my dad gave me to go to Chicago. And she's like, you are 100% not doing that. I was like, so I did what any little 5-year-old kid would do. And once one parent said no, I went to the other parent and I asked for their permission. And my dad was just like, dude, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You go. Like, if you don't go, I'm going to be mad. And I was just like, hell yeah, let's go. So dad came in clutch for me.
Shout out to Balty Daddy.
Yeah, and the thing is, to be fair, it wasn't just all my parents' money. I had a lot of my own money saved up as well. So I was just like, all right, let's go. And I did it. I arrive. The second I arrive, I didn't bring my mom's credit card, which we used for the lodging. So basically, it was like we used my mom's credit card, and then I just gave her all the money that Dust 2 gave me through PayPal and stuff like that. So so that way her expenses aren't that crazy. So I get there, and the guy's like, oh, do you have the credit card to actually put the charge on? And I was just like, it's in Canada. And he's like, so I can't really do anything if I don't have the card here. So I'm standing there at the desk, and I'm just like, so can I like sleep by the pool, or like what can I do here? Like, I'll sleep in the lobby. Like, I live in Canada, help me, bro. So luckily he's like, I can't really do this. So if you call your mom right now and we get it sorted out, I'll do this for you. I was just like, this is my guardian angel right here. So shout out to my boy Justin for hooking me up.
Justin
at Pheasant Run Resort. So if a manager is watching, don't hurt my guy. Yeah, promote that man. That is a manager right there.
He came in clutch.
Exactly.
That's upper management material.
Yeah, so that was my first exposure to a land that was all through Dust 2.
Shout outs to Pheasant Run, #1 indoor-outdoor heated pool in the Chicago area.
Yeah, that was pretty nutty.
It's pretty cool.
It was a great time.
Super drying, but a great pool.
Yes.
This is the content that people come to these interviews for, to find out
exactly.
the pool quality in Chicago. Okay, yeah. So Mad City, you've talked about it a little bit before, saying like you didn't leave the building, because none of us did. It's how lands work.
Yeah, that was the craziest amount of work that I've ever done in my life. Like more than HLTV, like more than the Philadelphia amount of work that I had to put in from the last one for HLTV. But like that, going to a LAN and being the one press, that was nutty.
What was your takeaway personally from that event? Like what did that make you want to do? Like what did that change anything about you, or like the way you were feeling about things?
It made me there was a lot of things. There was a lot of mixed feelings when I was there. First one being, I'm hungry as hell. Like, I want to do this. Like going to that event, I was like, I want to keep doing these events. I don't care if I even have to pay part of my way to do it. With Dust 2, I don't care. Just get like, if they offer it to me, I'm going. Like, had I actually had some like extra cash and had Joe not live so close to Philadelphia, and he had said, yo, do you want to go to Philadelphia? I'd be like, hell yeah, I do. Like, it wouldn't even have been a question. I would have been already on the flight. Like, I want to keep doing this for as long as I possibly can, because it's something that I just love to do. I would say that's like the high point. I'd say the low point is like, you're the press. So like, and also like I'm not too familiar with everybody, right? So it's like people don't want to hang around a new guy, which is unfortunate. Like I'd like to make friends in this scene. It'd be pretty good. Luckily the Nerd Street fam was keeping me company. That was a fun time.
We sort of adopted you.
Yeah, you adopted me right in, which was nice. Because going into the event, I knew that like there were people there that I had criticized on the show, and so obviously like maybe it'll be awkward a little bit. So for some people, I went out of my way to say hello. Like I don't have any grudges against anybody in the community. So like when and I'm aware of ones that are in the community where people are like, yeah, I'm not too fond of Balty baby. Like I don't really like him. I'm just like, that's okay. Like you don't gotta like me. I don't have to be liked by everybody. So it's like it's whatever. So I still walked up to everybody, including those people. It wasn't in spite of them. It was just because like I get to meet you like that. It was a simple fact of like I'm in person meeting you. So I think that's cool. So regardless of your liking or hatred of me, I'll still say hello. I'm still a decent person, I think.
In my experience, every awkward interaction in the Counter-Strike community can be attributed to personal awkwardness and social anxiety as opposed to malice.
Yeah,
very rarely do you encounter people who really actually dislike each other.
Yeah, very true. Unless you get like the SFX 4-pack situation.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, you get an awkward situation in that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna call that one social awkwardness.
Yeah, so I would say it's mixed feelings in that like I want to keep going to these events, but I also understand that like I'm the press, so people are kind of awkward around me. It's like I'm not gonna quote every single thing you people say. Like unless it's an interview, I'm not listening to you guys with like a journalistic intent.
See, what I do is I hide in the bathroom stalls and then I tweet out quotes that I hear at the urinals.
Yeah, exactly. You get the loud and rambunctious group that comes into the bathroom all at once, and you're just like, haha, all these secrets.
I call that journalistic integrity at its finest.
Yeah, I like that.
No, so coming away from the Bad City experience, you were hungry, and now, of course, you've just released a huge announcement, which is that you're gonna be going full time.
I am pretty much full time. So
pretty much full time.
I'm still on the McDonald's payroll, partly because I love. Yes, thank you, Ronald. Partly because I love 50% off. That is wonderful. And two, just because it makes my mom happy knowing that I have guaranteed money because she doesn't understand esports. So like the idea of like being paid over PayPal is like foreign to her. She expects things right to the bank account. So it's like I have to like have this job to like guarantee that I have some extra cash in my pocket, which is fine because I actually like working there. Besides the fact that I'm like super bitter about working there, but like it like when I'm there, it's a fun time, right? So like I at least try to make it as fun as I can while depreciating the value of how good I work. I have a fun time, and everybody else has a fun time, so they forget about how garbage I am on purpose. So, so I'm pretty much full time. I work 8 hours a week, like 6 to 8 hours a week at McDonald's when I work at 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning. So like none of my time like really in the morning is going to be taken up. So I have my stream schedule on my Twitch. So, if you want to go to twitch.tv/baltybaby,
check them out.
You can do that. My stream schedule is there. So I will be pretty much full-time streaming as much as I can, except when MDL is live. So I will be watching pretty much every MDL game that I can possibly consume. So at least people know that I'm still hard daddy about the Premiere podcast and I'm not just some streaming scrub who comes on every Monday and just does his show randomly. But I still will have lots of baseless speculation because I still don't have insider knowledge. After all this time, I still don't. So
I'm starting to get trickles of it.
Oh, okay. Darth Mike's getting the insider trade. Okay.
Little bits and bits.
Okay. I respect that. You're going to send them my way.
The trick is to go to the bars with people afterwards. Everyone
Very true.
With a beer in hand.
Very true. Okay. So
you can't do that yet.
Yeah, I can't do that in America. I can do that here in Canada. You can go to the bar. I can go with like Moose.
There you
That's about it.
Go liquor up Moose.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll be full-time streaming and I will be full-time Dust2 US. I've already given Joe my schedule where I'll basically be clocking in and out. Like the second I start, every article is pretty much going to be written by me as much as I can. And then when I clock out, hopefully no announcements get made and I have to, because I won't be stopping my stream, right? So it's like, Joe, you better hope your other writers are getting on that.
So it's sort of like a full newsroom kind of thing where you have somebody on call on duty at all times.
Pretty much, yeah. So like between the hours of, for example, say on a Tuesday, he will have me from 9 a.m. to 4:30, and it's like anything that is in the portfolio that needs to be done, it will probably be done by me.
That's exciting. It's a big move. It's big time.
It's exciting for Joe, because I figured this guy is gonna just one man all day every day. Like this man's gonna cream his khakis, bro. I swear.
Is Joe watching this?
I hope so. Come on.
He's not. He's not in the chat. I'm a little surprised. He's probably traveling to Frag, to be honest.
Yeah, very true.
Odds are good that he's on his way to Frag. So, okay, Joe's gonna cream his khakis. That's a nice soundbite there we can clip and send to him. Yep. So the other exciting thing that you've been doing, the most exciting thing in your life, I'm sure, is you've been doing this podcast with me.
Yes, bro. The very exciting drop room that I like it. I'm liking it so far.
Yeah. It's it started off with you and Topical. Topical reached out to you about starting it up, and then he realized he didn't want to actually do any of the podcasts because he's a busy man these days. So he dragged my butt into it, and it's been pretty wild since.
Yeah, he's basically just like, I can't make it this week, so he's like, find a co-host. And I was just like, all right, well, the first one that comes to mind is Darf. I was like, I can't think of anybody else that I would rather have on the show.
I'm honored.
You should be. You should be.
I'm thoroughly honored. Okay, so how have you enjoyed doing that? How has that been different from your experience with the Premiere podcast?
In terms of from the Premiere podcast, it's like we cover a lot more than just the MDL. So the Premiere podcast is all about the MDL and only about the MDL. I don't really talk about anything else on the show. So on Drop Room, it's a lot more broad. So we're able to kind of flex our muscles in terms of our knowledge a little bit more. Because to be fair, I don't only watch MDL. I still do kind of focus on the pro scene as much as I can. So at least I can keep up with you on the show. Just because I feel like I'm more knowledgeable on the MDL than you, but you're probably more knowledgeable on the pro scene than I am. So I feel like it kind of balances out. But that's not to take away from your knowledge. I won't try to depreciate
I definitely
your
think you're more knowledgeable about the MDL. My knowledge about the Pro League is I don't get to watch as much of it as I like to.
Okay.
But hopefully that'll change. Hopefully time.
So yeah, in terms of biggest difference, I would say it's in the broader knowledge, the broader scale of what we talk about.
Okay. So, all right. So I guess the other thing I'm going to ask you about is there's so many exciting things coming up for you. You're going full time. You're starting with Dust 2 US on a regular basis. You're starting up your stream on a regular basis, which regular streaming is a new world for you, right? Have you done it before?
Yeah, I used to do casting streams way back in 2016. And then probably the most amount of data you can find right now is I was mostly just streaming Call of Duty from my PS4. So it was just like, they were super chill streams. It wasn't like anything serious. I didn't have overlays or anything. It was just, I hit start streaming on my PS4 and that was it. So I don't have the most amount of experience with full-time streaming, but it'll be an adventure for sure.
An adventure. All right. And you've got all these ventures going on. What are you most excited for? If you had to pick one thing on the horizon coming up with this whole transition, what are you most excited about? Apart from seeing my face every Monday.
Oh man, there's so many things to be excited about. Like genuinely, there's a lot, and just thinking about all of them and having to pick one is actually super tough. I will choose bringing back the podcast though.
Okay.
Like the thing that kind of started it all, and the fact that it's been gone for 3 seasons now, I think it's long overdue to come back. So the fact that I get to bring it back, and it'll be coming on right after we do Drop Room. I'll be doing it on the Monday, so right when we're done the show, I go right into it on my own channel. So it'll be exciting. Like the fact that I get like the Drop Room warm up and then I can go into it is nice. But yeah, there's a lot of things. there's a lot of things.
That's exciting. It's a really exciting time for you. And you've sort
Yeah.
of how much you sort of carved out an X amount of time, and then you'll see if you can keep going with it, right? How much time are you sort of planning to devote to try and make this esports dream a reality?
So I'm devoting a full year. So
Okay.
I'd basically say from now till September 1st. And it's all contingent on Twitch affiliate. If I'm able to make a Twitch affiliate, my goal is to make it before the end of 2018. I don't know if it's achievable, but I'm gonna try my ass off. Obviously, like this whole plan is to make sure that I'm working my ass off for my goal. So at the end of my 1 year, if I have a nice concrete career possibly out of this, like if I can keep Drop Room, if I can potentially make money off the Premiere podcast and get sponsors and things like that, and I can start up money leagues with the fantasy league if I'm going to keep that up and stuff like that, like if I can sort of make a small chunk of money from that, and if at the end of it I can say like I can quit McDonald's and stop doing those like guaranteed money shifts, and I can say to my mom like, here's what I do, here's how well I do it, and here's how much people want to see of it. And at the end of that, if she's like, all right, dude, because she's obviously like, you know, she's old, so like she's skeptical. So like, and she tells me all the time,
your
like,
mom a lot of grief in this.
I love giving my mom. I love roasting my mom.
Mama Balty, I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Hey, I appreciate my mom. So she's literally the only reason why I can do this. The only reason why I'm able to do this, because all the time she's like, I understand that like I might sound like I'm ragging on you because I don't understand your scene, so I don't understand how much or how well you make money, but I'm just trying to like look out for you and stuff like that. So she's like, she wants to support me, and I'll be completely honest, I don't need the realistic approach here. I need the please gas me. Like I need you to be like, this is the best idea ever, do this.
Pipe dream time.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need the realistic mom. I need the like overly supportive mom. Like, what are you doing? You gotta help me out.
All right. So shout outs to Balty's mom. Gotta gas him up more, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll always have me here to gas you up.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for.
Down. I like to alternate.
Hey, I don't mind being torn down every once in a while. Maybe my ego gets too much. I don't think I have one, but maybe it gets too much.
Big ego Balty. Gotta watch out for it.
Well,
I think we're just about wrapping up here. So if you guys want to check out Balty and all the stuff that he's doing, it's a lot of exciting stuff. You can follow him on Twitter at BaltyBaby, right? It's just at BaltyBaby.
Yes, sir.
At BaltyBaby. Twitch.tv/BaltyBaby if you want to check him out streaming. You can subscribe to his YouTube channel, which is also BaltyBaby, if he ever starts uploading stuff again.
The podcast has to go somewhere. And hey, maybe I'll hire an editor and get some stream highlights.
There you go. Get fancy. Get
exactly
fancy. You can find him on ESEA, where he's never done anything. BaltyBaby. You have zero stats or history.
Yep. Sorry.
Do you own BaltyBaby.com? Because it's a blank page for me.
I used to own BaltyBaby.com, and then once I started like getting off the radar, I was just like, I can get rid of this. It's an extra expense. Yeah, exactly. It used to be linked to my my prediction sheet that was held in high esteem. I'm surprised that wasn't part of this interview. Ooh. There's an even
about the betting side of things.
Ooh, there's another side of BaltyBaby. Maybe that's time. Maybe do we have time?
Maybe we'll save that for next time. Yeah, sure, why not?
Next,
we don't even have a producer. There. Provided you have time, I have time. I'm not going anywhere.
I have time as well. Yeah.
So the betting sheet. Yeah. What's going on with the betting sheet?
So I actually don't have really a link to it anymore because it's a Google Doc. But I mean, I can try to pull it up real quick here. Basically, I started up this Google Doc. I guess it's a Google spreadsheet for HLTV, and it was basically I looked at every single game and I just tried to predict it. Like that was it. Like there was nothing more than like me just putting in every single match. Like I have over 1,700 games predicted.
Wow.
At like a 70% rate. So I think it's okay. it's a pretty good percentage.
Were you betting on this sheet yourself, or was it other people betting on it?
I was not. It was other people. So we tried to explicitly say like as much as possible, like bet at your own risk because I don't want to be responsible for you messing up. And I feel like I don't even think I have a link to it anymore.
Lost to the sands
Oh
of history.
no.
Lost to the sands of time.
I have my old one, which is all gross and doesn't have any formatting, and it's disgusting.
Lost to the wilds of the internet.
Oh my god.
Time to find the Wayback Machine if you see if you can track it down. All right,
I'm
so
so
the Balty better sheet. Is that going to be making a reappearance?
Oh hell no. That thing took so much of my time. Oh my god. It was brutal. People loved it because they loved betting and I actually had like good predictions, so they would like send me like keys and stuff every once in a while, but yeah, that had to stop.
So the Balty better sheet, lost to the time, gone but not forgotten, but maybe forgotten.
That was how I first started the scene. That was before the premiere podcast.
Okay, that was the first thing.
That was
ever.
the origin story. Yes.
Dang, you didn't tell me that when we were talking about.
I know. I completely. Yeah, like it was completely forgettable. But yeah.
OG. It's gone now. All right. Well, apparently you should reach out to Nate, but with glasses, who may know your older son or be your older son, I suspect.
It is my older brother who's currently in Vegas.
Yeah, there you go. I think he has access to it, so you should hit him up. Get that link. But thanks so much for joining us. You can check the both of us out next week on Monday at 6 p.m. where we'll be hosting Drop Room as we do every week. And as we'll be
covering the hell out of Frag.
We'll be covering the hell out of Frag. Frag's going to be very exciting. I'm going to be there this weekend. Balty's up in Canada, so he's not going to be. Sadness.
Yep.
We'll miss you
Screw
next
me,
time.
right?
Frag
so
13.
Frag 13? Okay, I'll be full-time esports. If I can't make Frag 13, I'll be pissed.
Just like hit yourself to the back of a moose. Or moose. Actual moose. You could just follow him. Just hide in his luggage.
Exactly. I'm a pretty small guy. I can fit in his luggage.
It'll work. It'll be fine. But again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Feel free to give me a follow at Darf Mike. Feel free to give him a follow at Balty Baby on Twitter. Feel free to give Nerd Street a follow at Nerd Street Gamers. Check out more content like this. We'll be bringing you lots of the action. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and have a great night, everybody.